It was the spring of 2024. I honestly thought, given my current lineup, that I was done buying any new motorcycles for life at this point. But then, one bike unexpectedly emerged that was just too good to be true. This is our brand new limited edition Pan America Special. Let's start the adventure. What's going on, YouTube? FXDLS Brooklyn is back in the building. So yeah, a lot of you speculated, especially since I started covering the new road glides on my channel, that I was finally becoming a bagger guy. But anyone who truly knows me knows that this couldn't be further from the truth. At the end of the day, I'm a distance rider who lives in the sport touring world. I take bikes that come off the line built for true performance and push them to their limits in terms of touring. This new bike truly achieves that purpose, coming straight out the box. So anyway, if you can't tell, I'm really excited for this new journey. So to keep this video somewhat concise, let's break it down like this when it comes to how and why this bike came to be. So yeah, when it comes to true performance, you don't have to read too much about this bike to know that this bike achieves that. I've sung the Lowrider ST's praises for years at this point, but this bike comes in with 50 more horsepower, almost 200 pounds lighter, and almost $4,000 cheaper when compared to the Lowrider ST. The list doesn't stop here, as the bike also comes in with the most premium brake setup available, as well as adaptive suspension. Combine all this with how high this bike sits, and at the end of the day, you really can't ask for much more, especially for a stock bike. At the end of the day, I am a true mile crusher, and that is the baseline expectation for any of my bikes. With the seating position and how minimal this bike looks, it doesn't really strike you as a touring bike when you compare it to the quote-unquote Grand American touring line. But as we know, looks can be deceiving. The frame-mounted fairing, the adjustable windshield, the stock crash bar that can double as highway pegs, the built-in luggage rack, as well as just how deceivingly comfortable the riding position is. As someone who puts in the real miles, I'll be the first to tell you that this bike will do the damn thing, even stock. So for anyone who knows me or my dad, knows that on any given ride, we're often pushing our bikes to explore spaces that are far from any paved road. My friends often joke around that we are the true market for an adventure bike that can handle off-road conditions. Like I said, we've always pushed cruisers to do this type of riding, and as you know, sometimes you win and sometimes you lose. What can I say? It's just refreshing to finally have a bike that can literally go anywhere we can dream up. So ever since the 2016 Softail Slim S came through with this paint, I've always been a huge fan of this particular paint scheme. My friend Andres used to actually have it, and it definitely had that wow factor, especially in person. When they dropped this paint in 2022, I always said if I could ever have one Pan America, it would be with this paint. The fact that it's limited definitely ups the coolness factor, but the thing that truly hits home for me is the fact that this chapter of the Enthusiast Collection pays homage to those who have fought and sacrificed for this country. I generally don't get too personal on my channel, but I do come from a lineage that has fought for this country, including grandparents and great-grandparents that have served in both great wars. In many of my bike trips, I do my best to constantly remind myself that these moments of beauty and true freedom would not exist without the courageous men and women who fought for it. To me, this bike truly represents that ethos. Sometimes you're just in the right place at the right time. Given the fact that this bike is 2 model years old at this point, O'Toole's Harley Davidson was able to offer it to us at a price that was pretty much unheard of. Not much more to say about that, except don't sleep on those bikes in the showroom that have some years on them if you're trying to save some money. So if you know the bikes I have in my garage, you're probably saying, how is this dude able to swing this? Let's just say anyone who works the job that I have is not getting rich anytime soon, and I have to grind to the bone day in and day out so my bikes can have a better life. A brand new Pan America was just never in the equation for me until the old man expressed heavy interest in this bike. One thing led to another. He really wanted this bike, and as I stated above, it checks off all the boxes for me as a distance rider. So we agreed to partner on this one and build it out and ride it as a father-son project. Which, for a bike that already has sentimental value to me in regards to my family, brings it to another level. To come back to swinging this bike with my current stable, the truth is I'm most likely gonna have to sell one of my bikes in order to responsibly keep this bike. But hey, to diversify your garage and touch true performance, sometimes sacrifices must be made. So yeah, I'm glad to have you all with me as we start a new journey. The dominant content on this channel will remain the Dyna, FXR, and Lowrider ST content, but now we're going to sprinkle in some Pan America content through the eyes of a Dyna bro. The truth is, the sport touring world within the cruiser line is very much my bread and butter, but as to an adventure bike, I'm very much a beginner with a lot to learn, which keeps things exciting for me and I hope keeps things exciting for you all as well. I want to give a major shout out to both Harley Davidson and O'Toole's Harley Davidson for supporting this new project, and stay tuned because we're just getting started. If you enjoyed this one, be sure to like and consider subscribing to the channel. We do have a Patreon for those deeper cuts and miles. Stay safe and stay low. Chase true performance and true freedom, and never forget those who fought for it. On that, FXDLS Brooklyn is out.